I know this is a 30,000-foot question, Shane, but just to the best of your ability, like people always talk about how hard it's become to play defense in the NFL today, like with all the rules and, the motion offenses and whatnot. How have you seen, how have you, from the first time you got into the NFL till now, like, have you changed what you quantify as good defense, the measurements or the idea of yards, maybe you bend but don't break is more okay than it was? Like, how have you seen the definition of good defense change over the years?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing is they got good players too. I think they're going to make some plays, like to assume we're going to get 3 and out every series or hold them to however many yards. I don't know how attainable that is. They're going to make their plays. I think the biggest thing for me as I look at it, regardless of the rules, regardless of everything else, like we got to play to the rules that are there. We got to understand them. We got to know the situations where they come up for us and be able to execute and be disciplined enough to follow the rules. But really, it's about us and how we play defense. Like we know the different variations that we're going to see in terms of how offenses are attacking. Like you mentioned, the jet motion has become a big thing. The tight end movement at times has become a big thing. I think it's the two-back game has kind of transformed, where it kind of got cycled out, and I think it's probably making a cycle back in, where teams are having a fullback or using tight ends back there to form two-back. But really, for me, the focus is our guys and making sure we can execute and defend everything offenses are throwing at us. A lot of pre-snap communication, whatever that might be, with all the moving parts pre-snap. I think that's one thing offenses are doing more and more of, to put you in conflict before the ball's even snapped. But it's about us playing defense, executing, finding ways to play the next play when they do make a play. Being good in the red zone, being good taking the ball away. I think those are critical now, just in terms of being able to steal possessions or keep them from scoring 7 and making them attempt a field goal.
And then last one quick follow up, Shane, would be do you think there is a path forward for like defense first teams to be really good in the NFL still? Like the way that Ray Lewis's Ravens or Derek Brooks's Bucks, like can defense still win big in the NFL, or is it still offense dominated?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think it's a team game. Obviously, you got to be able to play complementary football when you get a stop or when you pin them back. Hopefully, we can keep them pinned back. But I think that's part of it. Each game's kind of different how it unfolds. Some games are lower scoring, some games are higher scoring, just based on how the game's going. But I absolutely think a defense can still lead to winning football in the league. But again, it takes everybody.
Thanks, Shane.
Yep.
Dan Duggan.
Hey Shane, I think we'll probably have to take your temperature on this every time we talk to you until starters announced. Just what's your view on the CB2 battle now, with Cordell being the guy healthy and Deontay's banged up?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we can get them back here and they can get some work this week. I've been pleased with both those guys throughout camp when they've been able to be out there. I feel like both of them have made some plays. Even going back to the spring, they were both getting their hands on football. It was good to see Flott on that third down break up that pass Saturday night. So I was encouraged by him being back out there and the reps that he did get. So again, it's an ongoing thing. I do feel like the competition is making them both better. I do. I think there's been production there that we didn't necessarily see as much this time last year from both those guys. I think Flott, just the comfort level of playing out there. He played inside early on in his career. So the more reps he's gotten out there, the more comfortable he's become. And Tay's done some good things. He's challenged guys. I think he showed up at times in the run game for us, setting edges, being physical, whether it was in practice or the games. So I'm encouraged by both those guys, and hopefully they keep competing here these last few weeks, and we'll go from there.
And then Darius Musa, like, where does he fit? Could you see a rotation at linebacker? Does he have a role in the defense?
Yeah, I think he's another guy that has had a really good camp. He's got a knack for finding the football. So, again, got a lot of confidence in him, just like I do Bobby and Micah. So not opposed at all to him getting in there and playing some snaps for us defensively. Trust him. I think he's productive when he's in there. So really encouraged with that group and where they're at in the training camp they've had.
big trend lately has been former players being a head coach. You may be a head coach soon one day. What do you think former players as head coaches bring to their teams that other guys don't who haven't had experience playing in the league?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think back. I've been under a couple, in my time at Northwestern, Coach Fitz being a former player, former Wildcat, and understanding what that is. And I think, and then being in Coach Reed, who's, played college at a high level and obviously coached for a long time, but didn't necessarily play in the league. So, I've kind of had both experiences in my time. And, I don't think there's one right way or the other. I think it's just different experiences. Each coach kind of brings their own touch and feel to how they approach the game. And I think reaching to players, getting them to understand the importance of certain things, whether it's on the field, off the field, the fundamental part of it, just sharing your experiences. I think for me, that's been probably the coolest thing is, being in those same seats with the guys, being in the locker room with the guys, being able to relate to the players and understand what they're going through. And then, it's not any secret, this time of year right now when cuts are kind of going down, I've been in those positions. I've sat there, I've been cut before a number of times, and I've also been part of it where I made the team, so I can share that and understand what the players are going through. But those have been my experiences as a coach, as a player. I think there's no right or wrong way to it. It's just what you bring to the table as a person.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Neil Best.
Obviously, from what we've been able to see, your offensive line has looked, pretty good in these preseason games. What have you seen from them, and how is it harder or easier with offensive lines to draw conclusions from preseason games than, compared to, the skill position guys? What do you think of what you've seen so far?
Well, it's, everything certainly starts up front in the run, the pass game, the screen game, everything. And Carm and James have done a really good job of getting that group together, getting everyone on the same page and working its way inside out, right? From the center to the guards, to the tackles, to the tight ends being an extension of that run game and the pass game, the running backs, the receivers. So we talk about it a lot being an 11-man operation, but it starts with the guys up front. The coaches are an extension of that, and then all the skill groups, making sure we're all on the same page. And that's just part of really what we honed down this offseason was making sure the language that we're using in the huddle, the language that we're using at the line of scrimmage, it all means something. And so what is that telling the players and how to operate, how to execute their position and role? And so I think it's been really good. And I think you're seeing it. The players are buying into it, and they're doing well.
Is it any harder with linemen, to tell what's going on in a preseason game compared to other positions, or is it just kind of a similar judgment?
No, you get a feel. You certainly get a feel for it as a play caller. You see that they're handling it. There's not a whole lot of pressure at some, in some points, and so you get a feel for how the rush is going, how the O-line's kind of leaning on the defensive line, what kind of movement they're getting at the line of scrimmage. So that's been really productive and really good this preseason and through camp.
Thanks.
Evan Barnes.
Hey, Mike, how we doing?
Great.
All right, two questions for you. One, how would you assess Jackson Duty's first two preseason games as far as what you've liked about what he's done so far?
Yeah, I think Jackson's been, really good with the opportunities he's had in terms of the run game, the pass game, obviously having some production downfield. I think he's just really starting to put together some of the stuff on the offense in terms of just the plays, right? Just understanding what we're trying to do on offense and just really, he's done a great job with the leadership part of that and making sure the guys are in the right spot. He's working with guys, in that third group who would maybe be young players, other rookies alongside of him, other veterans that play a lot of football as well. So he's doing a great job of just kind of leading the group. And again, we're talking about 11-man operation. He's leaning on those veterans. He's leaning on some of the older guys in the room and on that offensive line that have done it and played well. And then he's taking it to the next level.
All right, my second question, not quarterback related. We saw Elijah Chapman play fullback. We asked Dave kind of how you guys, wanted to use him in that role. Just what did you see when you looked at Chat's tape from running fullback that made you think, hey, we can incorporate this in the offense this season?
He did it in college. We went back into the archives and watched some of the stuff he did in college. And I think for Chat, just his ability to be another dynamic player like he is on defense, we felt and we brought it up to the staff and Dave's and had an idea about maybe introducing him as a fullback and seeing what that looked like. So, no better time in the preseason to kind of test it out before the bright lights. So, we wanted to see what it looked like, and I thought he did a really nice job jumping in there.
We saw, I think Dave's also said that he's been breaking his helmet in practice or in games when he's hitting those blocks. Is that something you like seeing from him? Just take to it and be that physical on offense as well?
Yeah, the physicality, you see it on defense. And so it was cool to see it translate on the offensive side and him go stick his face in a block. And yeah, he's broken a couple face masks over the course of training camp. So he's doing a great job though. Really cool.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Charlotte Carroll.
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Hi, Charlotte.
With Malik not out there the last 2 games, what have you seen from how the offense is running kind of without him there as a focal point?
Yeah, I mean, the next man up. That's really been our mentality as an offensive unit, whether at any position really. So, if some guy's not available, then the next guy's got to step up into that role. And that's our job as a coaching staff, is to make sure we put the right guys in the right spots, regardless of the position groups, and just being flexible with how we want to approach each game. And I know in the preseason, you're kind of rolling through the different groups, the first group, the second group, the third group. So you're not thinking of it like on a 60 play or a whole game, I would say, kind of volume, but you still have to work through those substitutions and make sure everyone kind of knows their different roles and different spots that they could be in.